Hi, thanks for tuning in here today. Today we're going to be doing a nice little fun, simple painting, something different than what we're used to. Today, this part is the same as the last one, or the last video, but this one, it's not going to have time lapse.
I meant to say time lapse for this one.
You enjoy. Get your tea, take a nice, good time out of your day. I don't know how long this is going to take, so let's get straight into it and enjoy our process. So to begin with, I have a nice 16 by 20 inch canvas, pre-stretched, double prime, and I made up a color that's like a dark blue grayish. I did a mixture of blue acrylic paint, a little bit of red, a little bit of black, and a little bit of white. Smeared it on, let it completely dry, and we're good to go. Now, today we're working with this reference. I drew this up. I thought it would be very interesting to have something like this. As you can see, there was different versions of it, but I ended up with this corner one, the top right corner. So let's just get straight into it. As we said, it's going to be something different and something unique. So without further ado, let's just jump in. I'm gonna grab my filbert brush. We're gonna sketch out where we want things to go. Now, when you're sketching, you don't want to use white, because the reason for it, if you use pure white, then it's all your highlight. It's your brightest color. So we're gonna use a little bit of burnt umber right here, and we're just gonna decide. Okay, so based off the reference, we don't want it all the way up, so it's gonna be somewhere here, that the horizon line, should we say. I'm gonna grab a little touch of white. It's a little too dark. So somewhere around here. So the skull goes above, but we don't want it dead center. We want it a little off. So somewhere around here, and we'll drop it to around right there. I think that's a good size. We don't have to overdo it either. Or if we want, we can drop it a bit more. We can do stuff with it. And then also with the candle, if you go back to the reference, it's a little shorter than the actual skull, so maybe right there, and it ends little below the line here, the horizon. This is my drawings. As you can see, it has my it's pencil and it's my signature and all that. This was not generated, but people have done these types of paintings, so it's not an original idea of mine, sort to say, but I came up with the concept of this as far as I can remember. So I'm not going to put the rose in just yet, because I want to wait for that later on. So first thing, we're looking for that top section, that top circle. I think I'm going to use liquid white instead of liquid clear. The liquid clear is making it sticky and pasty, and we don't need that. We want it thinned out, not pasty. Also, because my liquid white, one time I lost the lid and never found it.
So this could be the most simple yet hardest stage of the painting. Right here, all we're doing is just blocking in the basic shape of our skull and how we want it. So to start off, I usually just do a circle on the top, which is the top half, and then I work down. On the other side, I'm putting in the basic shape of a candle, which is a cylinder, and then an oval at the base. And I'm just sketching out the skull like if I was doing a human head. So I'm just doing the sphere on the other side, the sphere I see. I'm boxing in the skull a little bit more, and just little by little, you'll see how the skull starts to take shape, and how you can build things up pretty quickly. I'm treating the skull like if I were to draw a human face, and then just work from there. So I'm basically starting from one and backtracking rather than doing it the other way. As you can see here, I'm drawing a line in the center, which is where the eyes are going to be facing and all that, just to give me a little heads up. I divide it into thirds. The face is usually divided in thirds. A little bit below the first third is where the eyes would lay in there. That's why you see me do that line. That's the center of the eyes. And I let the eyes get as high as the first third, which would be where the hairline or the eyebrows would go on a normal portrait. Then I block in the nose, and the rest comes in after.
Let's block it in with our flat brush. We're gonna be using this. This is, I looked it up online when I bought it. It's a Hog synthetic brush. So it's not a natural synthetic, but it's a, I mean, not a natural bristle brush, but it's a synthetic made. I'm confusing myself in a way. But in other words, it's supposed to mimic the synthetic, the natural one, with it being not natural. So it kind of benefits both worlds. I'm just using a little bit of brown, burnt umber, and a little bit of ivory black and white just to dull down our white. We don't need pure.
So the main thing here that I'm doing, and that you'll see throughout the beginning of these videos, is I'm just blocking in and just trying to get basic shapes and basic colors. Right here, I'm just trying to find a middle color that cannot be too light, not too dark, for later on in the video I have a solid base to use as contrast. It doesn't have to be the final color that's going to show up, but I need something there. I can't just have that dark background. That's not going to help me for anything. Now I'm doing the same thing for the candle. Um, I could kind of see it. You'll see it right now in a second. I'm using burnt umber and little bit of titanium white. I don't know if I used any other colors apart from that. Oh, dark Van Dyke brown. And I'm just trying to find that middle tone for the candle, because it's very important that you're able to find that in between. That way, when you have a highlight, you can use it as contrast, and if you have a shadow, you can use it as contrast, and you could see maybe I have to up the highlight, or maybe I have to make it a little lighter, the shadows. You can judge it based off those mid-tones. If you don't have it, it's a little harder.
Come up here. I know I'm going back and forth, but to me, that's how I work. Just using the corner of the flat brush. So I want it where that corner of the eye is over here. So we're gonna shift it a bit. Right now, I made it to the point where it came out too much, which is all right. Things happen. Things happen. Let's go into a little bit of white. Let's get that slightest touch of brown. Slightest touch. There. Let's get that going.
So this just goes back to blocking in and getting the basic shape. Whether you think I am or not, that's the process and the idea I have in my mind while doing this, because you're shaping the eyes, you're shaping where the future highlights are gonna go. So it's very important you have everything aware rather than just, oh, I'm gonna put color here or I'm gonna put color there. That to me is a little bit scary. As you can see, I'm blocking in a basic color in the eyes, just so again, that middle tone, so I know where I can judge the other colors I will apply later on in the video. um, I believe right after this I start to shape the skull. Oh no, actually I put some shadows around it, which also you can expand the skull by adding more paint outside, and you can shape it a bit more. Again, they're just basic colors that I'm thinking of using and that are not too exaggerated for my end result. So after blocking in the skull, all I'm going to start to do is just block in some shadows in the eyes. As you can see, I'm just blocking in the shadows right there in the eyes where I think there's gonna be shadows. And later, once I'm fully decided, I'm gonna come back and add in even more darker shadows so I know it complements each other very well.
Yeah, coming back to life, because at the moment it looked a little rough. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. Okay, a little bit. Let's focus on the candle for now. That way we can see where highlights and all that are gonna work. So just going into a little bit of cadmium yellow, a little bit of uh, crimson, and just let's let's just touch down when it comes to the flat brush.
So here I'm just blocking in the basic shape of the flame, at least to my recollection on how I want it. But the issue is I did steps ahead when I should have worried about other things. So I had some shadows and all that, and I'm like, great, we got this, it's perfect. But then I realized if there's a flame there, it will light up the background, and you could see me adding a little backdrop, just a line just to indicate there's something there. But I realized it, and if I want, I had the painting like a dark blue, and if I want it to show that blue color, I need the background behind the candle to have like a slight blue light up. I know there's gonna be a little yellow hue because of the candle and the way it reflects that color, but it's mostly blue, and you see me going back and adding in that blue um, highlight around the where the candle's gonna be. And then I just go back and I have to blend it so everything looks smooth. So I go with the napkin, try to tap it out, and then afterwards I grab the 2-inch brush and just blend it out using the corner. After that, then you're good to put the candle flame and all that, and it's gonna look like it's illuminating the surroundings while also showing off the background's color, because the background is very dark and you need something like that to stand out.
There. Well, we'll work it in and try to fix it up and add little touches to it, but for the most part, just like that. And just to kind of lead the viewer's eye off it, because when they look, I want them to look, and shoom, we're gonna add in a little bit of smoke in there.
This isn't really important, it's just me blocking in a like lavender, dark lavender color for some smoke that I thought should be added on onto the candle.
But that smoke will have some light because of that. Again, back to the light the flame provides. Okay, I think I think we're good right there. So we'll add tons of white to that orange, and because of that flame color, we would have some of that color reflecting onto the skull.
So, really, the thought process behind this part is I just wanted to reflect the color of the candle. If there's orange lighting, there's gonna be orange highlights, or you, it's not gonna look exactly the exact temperature you have it. So I just wanted to demonstrate that candle temperature, I should say, or the color.
And so the in between, there should be that in between of those two. Okay, so either we could use this as the in between and darken this, or we can try to find the more in between.
Now, all I'm doing here is just considering lighting. Where is the light gonna hit it the most? Where is it not gonna hit the most? So since the candle is on the right side of the right side of the skull is gonna be the brightest, while the left side is gonna be the darkest, and then the middle of the skull is gonna be that mid tone. So I'm trying to get that value of the in between, the darkest and the lightest, while still preserving the lightest and darkest values for later on in the video.
You could see the shape already. It's not like, oh, I don't know. Like, you could see the shape clearly, where the eyes are, where things are going. So I'm just going into a little bit of black and just trying to add in those shadows for the eyes.
So So at this stage of the painting, I'm very comfortable with the shades and with the shape and all that. So all I'm doing is going back in with similar colors of shadows and highlights and just adding it on top of what it is already. And this is why you save the lightest. Now, although on camera it does appear I covered up all that uh, golden yellow color, it's still there in person. You could still see it. But all I'm doing is just blocking in highlights. Well, I shouldn't even say blocking in. I'm adding in those highlights and shadows and just working it in, blending it in, and making sure it looks right when it comes to lighting. Lighting is the most important thing because if you have a light in front and you put the shadows in the wrong spot, it's gonna throw the viewer off. So it's very important. As you can see there, I just add in some highlights and I'm going to go back and just blend it in, and I'm doing the jawline right here. Now the only thing I was not 100% satisfied even watching it back was that the jawline on the left side, it's a little too far out. I would have preferred it to be like where you could barely even see the jawline because the skull is looking to its left side. And depending on its perspective, it's what you see. And so I feel as if I would have redone it today, um, I would have showed less of the left side of the jawline, but it does not affect it very much. And I'm just blocking in basic colors for the teeth, basic uh, color and shape really. But it doesn't really affect it that much. But to me, it affects the proportions just a little bit, and it bothers me a little bit, but we live with it.
There. Okay, we'll use this dagger brush and we'll go into more white, slightest touch of burnt umber, slightest touch, or actually, no, more burnt umber, decent amount, and slight, very slight touch of yellow. Okay, let's grab a little more white. I put some white to the side just to be able to add more value to it. I don't want to put everything in and then have to extract everything out.
So right here, I'm layering on a lighter highlight just to make it, well, at this point, I haven't even layered a basic highlight. Right here, I'm laying in the basic highlight, which is important as we know the candles there and all that. And so I'm just going one by one on each tooth, not really paying too much detail on the shape. I just want to block in a simple highlight. We'll come back and we'll fix that up. Here, I'm adding an additional highlight. The reason why I like to build up my highlights now is because it makes the painting feel more 3D, less flat, because you're building it up rather than just all one color. It can make your painting appear flat and just lose its appearance. And I'm just adding some shadows. I'm trying to blend it out. To me, I added too much highlight. On the left side, it's too bright. I get it. The right side would be lightest, but left side should have less uh, highlight. And right there, I'm adding some shadows so the highlights could pop in between the teeth. Uh, just anywhere I think the shadow should live. And then also, I'm going to go back in the middle of the teeth and just add little bumps and all that, because not all teeth are straight. Some are cracked a little bit. So just doing that and adding it in. Also, I just thought I would add in that right here at this moment, you see me doing hand gestures because I'm stepping back and I'm analyzing it. A main thing that I like to do is step back, see it from a different perspective, because sometimes when you're too close, you forget what you're doing. And I'm just adding in some shadows. I added brown. I would change that later in the video.
Let's go into a little bit of green using my flat brush, a little bit of sap green, a little bit of ivory black. We want dark first. Let's go ahead and just, how did I do in my drawing? Okay. We'll angle it up a bit. We'll do it right where that shadow is. So, shoo. Either we messed up or we did something good.
So you could hear me joking around about whether we did something good or if it was gonna end up in a disaster. And honestly, in a way, I wasn't joking. I was kind of nervous to see whether or not it was a good decision to go with the flower or not, because it had been a good minute before that I had done a flower. So I was a bit nervous, but hey, if you don't try things or you don't go bold, it's not gonna grab anyone's attention. And so here I'm just trying to do my best to go with my recollection of how I painted a flower before, but also uh, do new things that can help me do this better. And so I'm blocking it in and just uh, doing what feels right in my gut. That's usually when my best paintings come out, when I feel like my gut tells me what to do, and I don't listen to techniques or nothing, but I just go based off my gut, and I just put in some shadow because I knew later on there was going to be some highlights around there. And I just said, you know what, screw it, we're going all throttle. And right up ahead, you'll see me how I started blocking in the base petal, and then later on we'll add more details.
How are my flower petal? Okay. What we're gonna do is just there, just pull it and let the brush and the colors do all the work. And I want to use this as the blocking. Of course, I'm gonna go back and add in a few details, hopefully to make it even better. But right now, I just want to block it in without having to take forever.
So luckily, before filming this video, I stumbled upon a video. I forgot exactly the title or the creator. I really wish I could have remembered. But they showed me, I saw this technique and I was like, I have to try it on the video. Hopefully it helps me speed up the process. And it turned out good.
And then also, I'm going to grab a little bit of sap green and cadmium yellow, little umber to desaturate it. I don't want it too saturated. And we'll just shoom. And maybe it comes up there and just grabs it. Now we'll go into some dark color and let's put in a nice leaf. First, just make a line and just kind of like you're doing a C. Okay. And a reverse C right there. Okay, and just trickle on a few little sparkles. Okay, let's get some dark going. And just tap it. With tapping, we create that little texture. Already, it's looking really, really good. So, what I want to do is add in a shadow over here. But since it's coming over here, the shadow is going to be this side. So, we'll grab ourselves a bit of crimson. I was thinking about it. If the backdrop's slightly blue, then the shadow should be like a purple, dark purple gray. I don't know why I put brown. I think that was because we were using it for the skull. Where I thought that, but that has to be darker. That's too light. And even then, that's still a bit too light, but I'm gonna come back and add a few little shadows in there. More darker values that way. That way it can come together all at once. I think over here would be darker and we see less of that silhouette. I mean, not silhouette, that line of the backdrop. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is, let's go ahead, a little bit of that tan color. If you guys are still sticking around, props to you, man. Props to you, and thank you for sticking around so much. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. And to me, this is what I'm doing today is to give you guys a little taste of the journey I want to grow and learn with you guys. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on, because now, instead of being a teacher, I'm gonna be learning with you guys.
So the smoke was a last minute thing, if I'm being honest with you guys, because I was not thinking about that when I came up with it. At least the first time I drew it out, I did not think about it. But then I added in the smoke, and you gotta think about it as clouds. When there's light underneath, when the sun is underneath, there's gonna be highlights hitting it. And so when I added the smoke, I knew I needed to highlight it because the flame of the candle was right underneath it, and there was no way I could just put it and ignore it. And so right here, just adding a few more highlights to the candle, and that was pretty much it for the candle. A few little details, but it doesn't really change much.
Okay, that's good. Honestly, I, I did better than what I expected. Now I'm gonna grab my script liner brush and we're gonna go back to work on the skull for a moment. Then we'll finish off with the flower, and finally, we're working like this. Um, I'm going to grab a little bit of liquid clear. I know it's not my favorite, at least the one I have, but there's not really much other option. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of black and a touch of brown and just roll out that paint. I don't want to use paint thinner either. And we're gonna add in a few little cracks in the skull. Just think about it as you're doing a tree branch all over it. That's the best way I can describe it, and that's the easiest way I think about it too at times. Okay, even in the eye's gonna need more black though. If I want to really show it.
Now, all this section is very repetitive, but it's very, very fun. The backstory behind me adding in the cracks into the skull was originally I'd done one where I have a skull cracked, but because my godfather loved that painting so much, I can't recall if I gifted it to him or sold it to him. I want to say gifted, and ever since then I never had one to myself. And so when the idea came up to me to redo something like that, but in a better version and with the new techniques I know, uh i I knew for no doubt I wanted cracks in it. It's very fun, and it's just great for some people who might have trouble grasping the idea. You can just think about it. If you're good at landscapes or following my landscapes or Bob Ross or whoever's landscapes, just think about it when you're doing a leafless tree and you're adding tree branches on that tree. How you have that shaky hand and you're just letting the brush wiggle through. That's the same idea and same concept. If you like, you can leave your skull without any cracks. It will look good as well. Just me personally, just having that backstory, I knew for a fact I needed those cracks to be in there. And it's very tedious depending on how many you put, but it's very fun. The only thing I wish is I would have put cracks on the chin area, because there's cracks all over the skull except the chin area, and most likely because the flower was in front of it, but still, one or two cracks would have been nice, at least for me and my mind.
Okay, it's coming out. It's coming together. Um, Finally, let's focus on these two. I'm not sure what I want to do exactly here. I know I need to fix it, but I don't know exactly what brush to start off with. That's a better way to say it. There. I'm just trying to blend those colors out. Let's reinstall a little bit of that base color. Ooh, let me move out the way. That way you guys can see. Okay. And we'll add a little touch of black to the crimson just to darken over here. And then we gotta create the petal there, 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 and add in a few little layers. Okay, now I'll grab my script liner. We'll go into a little bit of crimson and liquid white, and let's come up here and just dabble on a little bit.
So now we're going back and adding in that highlight that flower needed. Now, we could have left the flower as it was, but that doesn't make the flower unique. And I want something that feels unique and personal to me. And so, as we did, I got a little bit of alizarin crimson, a little bit of liquid white, and thin that paint out, and just added some pink highlights. Now, I am not using my lightest value because I want to save that for later. And I'm using the script liner brush, just adding in a few little details here and there where I think the light would hit it. And God, that was the right call. I like the way how I was able to use the block-in method and then come back in and just add in details that just up close you see it and you're like, wow. And so right here, I believe I added titanium white, or it could be liquid white on top, but chances are it's titanium white since I already had liquid white on there. And I wanted a lighter red, or if you want to think of it as pink, however you mind. I don't, it's up to interpretation. But I'm just adding in an even lighter highlight.
Look at that. That's nice. And not just for my level, like, oh, it's nice for my level. No, like, I mean it when I say that's nice. Usually I don't like to, how I was saying earlier, I don't like to be content, but I'm content with what we achieved here today. Little liquid white. And just slightest touches. Boop. Boop. There. Yeah, I'm okay with the flower looking like that. At the beginning it was a bit more rough, but now it's looking good. I'm gonna just blend out the base. The base is the only thing. That way we have that contrast. There. Finally, we have the candle. That should be a bit more quicker. We're gonna grab some yellow, some white, and we're just gonna come up here and just highlight this. Okay, I need I'll just grab my last fan brush and just blend it out. Just blend it until it's seamless. So right there, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna grab some brown. I'm gonna add dark. So right here, and maybe a slight touch of black. I have to add it into the brown. That way it's not too much. Don't leave too much paint, because then when you blend it makes it harder. There. And let's go ahead. Let's grab my script liner. What color do I have my other script liner? Where is it? Oh, I have dark color. I will grab this script liner. And little yellow. We'll make it seem like there's that wax drop. There we are. And we'll add a little more white. And we'll just drop, drop, drop. Just a little highlight. There. Oh, we forgot. Or I forgot, I should say. I forgot to put its little candle wick. And to the candle wick, gotta add in a thin highlight. There we are. And last touches. And with that, I'm gonna call this painting complete. Actually, since there's no wet paint on the corners, I'm gonna go ahead, grab my Sharpie, and we'll sign it. Okay, right here. And we'll just right here. Boom. Boom. We're signing this on camera. Boom. In the back will have my signature and everything. Well, I really hope you enjoy this painting, and I hope you find this interesting. This is the journey we're gonna embark on when I start learning more different skills and more advanced skills. I hope you enjoyed this full version of the video, and if not, I hope you enjoyed the time-lapse one. Whichever one you watch, I thank you. It has been my my pleasure to have been able to do these videos. I know I'm not quitting YouTube, but still it feels like it, you know, in my heart it feels like it. But it's a new journey we're going to embark on, and it's going to be really fun. I wish you guys the best, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Hopefully I'm painting by then. It's hopefully not how we've been doing it with 1 week yes, 1 week no, with school, work, and all that. It's been hectic at times, but we're here, and God has blessed us, and that's the one thing that matters. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and I'll see you hopefully next week. Until then, take care. Goodbye.